I'm Divyanshu, and today I'll be talking about our paper, Understanding How Users Prepare for and React to Smartphone Theft, an issue that is increasingly common yet vastly unexplored. Phones today are no longer just tools, they're deeply personal. For most people, phones have become an extension of themselves, carrying not just communication, but access to banking, travel, health, and also personal memories. Our participants describe their phones as central to how they live and function. To them, losing their phone meant more than losing just hardware. It meant losing access and control over their digital life. So, what exactly motivated our research? We started with a simple question: what actually happens when someone's phone is stolen? So, imagine this: you're in a crowded subway, someone grabs your phone and is gone within seconds. No warning. What would you do? Can you even act fast enough? Well, our research shows that this is the beginning of an ordeal that people just aren't prepared for. One of our participants quite aptly described the situation, saying, I had everything on my phone, my banking, my credit card, my social media, and even personal documents. So when I lost it, it seemed like a nightmare. The nightmare for them wasn't just about losing a device, but rather it was losing control over their digital life. Phone theft is global, common, and traumatic, yet it is critically underexplored. In London alone, over 100,000 phones were reported stolen in 2024. And while we assume that people can simply lock or track their lost phone, there is limited empirical data on user preparedness and reactions to actual phone theft incidents. So, what exactly did we want to understand? Our research was shaped around preparation, response, and recovery from phone theft. We wanted to empirically investigate three broad questions. First, how do people think about and prepare for the possibility of phone theft? Second, how do they respond to theft? What are their immediate concerns? Who do they turn to for help? And third, what kind of harms and threats do they face during recovery? Now, let's look at how we went about answering those questions. Our approach was exploratory in nature because of the limited understanding surrounding phone theft. As such, we used a qualitative research method for our study. Instead of simply guessing how people faced phone theft, this helped us holistically capture the entire experience, from people's preparation, the technical actions, the emotions, the social dynamics, and of course, the decisions made under stress. This approach fit our study because we needed to explore the phone theft space, understand the real-world barriers, and ground our recommendations. Now, let's look at our study design in a little bit more detail. To understand how people experience and respond to smartphone theft, we conducted 20 semi-structured interviews with victims of theft. These weren't participants who were asked to imagine a hypothetical phone theft. Rather, these were actual people who would live through it. And so why did we interview real victims? Well, phone theft situations are inherently complex and demand quick decision-making under pressure. They are layered with social stress, anxiety, and sometimes even fear for personal safety. As such, to gain the true understanding of its impact, we focused on talking to people who had recently experienced phone theft. Our participants came from 9 countries, and we recruited them via Reddit. We recruited participants through Reddit because it offered us access to recent first-hand accounts of phone theft while allowing us to reach people from different contexts and countries. We systematically coded the interviews transcripts and analyzed them thematically to identify and map out the experience over time. We interviewed people across a range of theft severities, ranging from opportunistic snatching to skilled pickpocketing to even cases involving confrontation and physical violence. This variety helped us capture thefts across various contexts and examine how different types of theft shaped people's preparation and their ability to recover. Okay, so now let's look at what we found. Our analysis revealed that the phone theft journey had three temporal phases. Pre-theft phase, which was based on expectations and preparation. The theft phase, which was based on the moment of loss and immediate concerns and actions. And finally, the post-theft phase, which was based on the recovery, harms, and consequences that people faced. Before theft, people felt safe. They believed it wouldn't happen to them. Most relied on basic protection methods like screen locks, biometrics, or PINs. A few people reported using two-factor authentication, or 2FA, for some services which they viewed critical. But in general, there was a clear optimism bias. When theft happened, it triggered shock, helplessness, and even self-blame. People tried to track their phone, activate lost mode, or contact their bank and service providers. They also leaned heavily on their social network, so friends and family, for support. Some contacted the police for help, but often to only limited effect. Post-theft, people faced economic harm from having to buy a new phone, and psychological as well as reputational harm from the theft incident itself. A few people also had to deal with digital identity threats. Sometimes, attackers impersonated Apple customer support and used sophisticated phishing to try and extract people's account credentials. In general, in the post-theft phase, people had to deal with disrupted access to essential services. So, to sum up our results, before theft, people felt safe. Most of them underestimated the risk of phone theft and relied on screen locks to protect themselves. During theft, they panicked, afraid of losing access to photos, financial apps, and private data. Many tried to track the phone or enable lost mode. But post-theft, the real struggle began. 2FA often locked them out of their own accounts, SIM cards were tied to national identities, phishing attempts followed, and people faced ongoing anxiety. Phone theft is often permanent, as stolen phones are almost never recovered post-theft. In our study, only 3 of the 20 participants ever got their phones back. Those recoveries depended on having immediate access to another locked-in device. This shows how time-critical recovery actions are. For the majority of people, no recovery meant having to start their digital life over from scratch on a new device. Now let's look at some insights from our findings. Two-factor authentication, which is usually meant to secure people from unauthorized access, ironically became a barrier, especially if it was tied to the stolen phone SIM. It often locked victims out of their own accounts, and as such, people began to question if 2FA is indeed working for them or against them. We also notice certain behavioral shifts in people who, as a consequence of theft, avoided using phones in crowded spaces, or even started carrying a burner phone with them in theft-prone areas, for example, when attending a concert. This represented a shift in the protection measures from technical protections to reliance on non-technical measures between the pre-theft and the post-theft phases. By aggregating the sequence of actions participants took immediately after theft, we developed high-level behavioral patterns. Here, we noticed a clear duality in response strategies of people. On one hand, more tech-savvy people initiated actions independently through technical means. On the other hand, more social people initiated actions based on social means. Our analysis revealed that the exact order of events did not significantly impact outcomes. The key distinction, however, was whether the actions were driven by technical means or by social dynamics. In the scenario that attackers were able to get into the stolen phones, people were most afraid of unauthorized access to apps that contained sensitive or personal data. They feared access to financial apps, personal photos, messengers, social media, email, and even their Notes app, which people remarked often contained critical information like passwords and PINs. All right, so we've talked through what people actually do before, during, and after a phone theft, and also the barriers they face along the way. Now, I want to shift the discussion to what these findings mean for the broader ecosystem and what different stakeholders can do to protect people better. When we talk about improving theft protection, three groups stand out as key stakeholders: phone vendors, app developers, and law enforcement and policymakers. Each of them has different capacities to which they can help people. Let's talk about phone vendors first. What are phone vendors already doing? Well, the exponential rise in phone theft has pushed vendors to act. Apple introduced stolen device protection, which adds extra challenges when a device is away from familiar locations, as well as inserts delays or additional biometric checks before key account or device changes can be made. Similarly, Google introduced Android Theft Protection Suite, which bundles automatic theft detection logs and safeguards that make resets harder and help lock or limit device functionality if a theft is detected. These are important steps that do try to limit the damage that phone theft can cause. However, our study revealed additional barriers that people face, making it difficult for them to deal with phone theft. Based on the pain points that our participants described, we believe vendors could go further by incorporating three features: contextual security, social recovery, and informed reassurance. Let's look at each one of them in a bit more detail. First, contextual security, which introduces a contextual high-risk mode that temporarily mandates biometric authentication on third-party applications. This mode is based on cues like wallet items, location, or calendar, and is automatically triggered in theft-prone environments like concerts or transit hubs. Second, social recovery that allows pre-approved contacts to trigger loss mode, thereby driving timely response to theft and increasing the odds of phone recovery. And finally, informed reassurance, which clearly displays backup metadata and status before users lock or erase a device. This reassurance reduces hesitation and helps users act with confidence. As for app developers, they could warn users about PIN reuse, as people often reuse the same PIN for both device unlock and app access. This creates a potential attack path if the PIN is stolen. They could also provide emergency account remediations, wherein people would be offered quick ways to revoke sessions, reset credentials, and secure accounts. And also offer alternative recovery options, as SIM-based two-factor authentication isn't enough. Apps should support backup codes, email login, or trusted devices as fallbacks. Changes in the app-level recovery design could dramatically improve resilience against theft. There is also a policy angle. Governments can support centralized theft reporting, limit the resale of stolen parts, and promote and incentivize collaboration of stakeholders to ease the burden on people dealing with phone theft. Brazil's Cellular Seguro app is such an example, which lets people report stolen phones, triggering coordinated blocks across telecom, banks, and digital services. A more coordinated approach like this could prevent people from being left stranded after their phone is stolen. Okay, up to now, I've shown you how people prepare for theft, how they react, and what can go wrong. But I want to pause here and really zoom out. In our study, most thefts were still about resale of parts. But increasingly, we're seeing something that's far more sophisticated. Thieves who socially engineer the capture of the unlock pin first and then steal the phone. This can lead to severe damage, such as drained bank accounts, stolen identities, and the permanent loss of digital assets. The Wall Street Journal has extensively reported this theft pattern in detail, and this is exactly the kind of threat that is the hardest to recover from. The reality is, given how much of our lives now live on our phones, today's theft protection features still seem inadequate. They are scattered across different services, inconsistent in design, and too complex for most users. So, to sum it up, what do we take away from all of this? First, people are underprepared due to optimism bias. While protections exist, they are scattered and complex in moments of panic. The recovery path is unclear, and two-factor authentication and SIM-based authentication often backfire, making recovery harder. In our paper, we suggest recommendations for key stakeholders to better support people dealing with phone theft. Please read our paper to dig deeper into the experiences behind phone theft and how we can design systems that support people better, or listen to our Too Long Didn't Read podcast. Thank you.